Hello there! Somaliland is a self-declared state in the Horn of Africa with a remarkable history. It restored its independence from Somalia back in 1991. They built a functioning democracy, pretty impressive, right? They have their own currency and military. Fast forward to 2017, enters Muse Bihi Abdi. He becomes president, promising economic growth and international recognition on the world stage. The reality hasn't quite lived up to the hype. Somaliland today faces some serious challenges. There's political polarization, growing internal conflict, and increasing isolation internationally. So, how did we get here? What happened to that initial promise? Now, Muse Bihi, he wasn't exactly a newcomer to Somaliland's political scene. He's a former military man, fought for independence, even served in previous governments. But his presidency has been divisive. Bihi's government has been accused of clamping down on dissent. We're talking arrests of journalists, shutting down critical media outlets, opposition figures. They've been feeling the heat too, facing intimidation and harassment. Not exactly the hallmarks of a thriving democracy, is it? This heavy-handed approach, it's created a climate of fear and stifled political debate. Not exactly the direction you want to go in a region already grappling with instability. Remember that whole greater recognition on the world stage promise? Somaliland remains unrecognized internationally. Under Bihi, Somaliland's foreign policy has been, well, let's just call it a bit of a head-scratcher. They've cozied up to Taiwan, which angered China, a major player on the world stage, and their diplomatic relations with other states is not as strong as it used to be. This lack of international recognition, it's a major hurdle. It limits Somaliland's access to foreign aid, hampers their ability to attract foreign investment, and generally makes life a whole lot harder. The unrest within, conflict in the east. Things aren't exactly peachy keen within Somaliland's borders either. The eastern region, Sul region to be precise, has been a hotbed of unrest. Clashes between Somaliland security forces and local clan militias have become increasingly common. The situation in Las Anod, the regional capital, is particularly concerning. What started as protests against perceived marginalization by the government escalated into full-blown armed conflict. As a result, Somaliland lost a large chunk of its territory to a militia. Now the government blames the violence on external actors, pointing fingers at Somalia. But critics argue that Bihi's incompetence, his government's heavy-handed approach, fanned the flames of this conflict. It's a major blow to Somaliland's stability, and under Bihi's government, a militia now controls more than 20% of Somaliland territory. A defining election. So, where does Somaliland go from here? Well, the upcoming election in 2024 is shaping up to be a pivotal moment. It is a choice between sticking with the status quo, with Bihi at the helm, or opting for a leader to lead the country in a new direction. Another term for Bihi could exacerbate existing tensions, deepen divisions within the country, and further isolate Somaliland on the world stage. New leader could offer a chance for a course correction. The people of Somaliland face a stark choice. It's a choice between continuing down a path paved with uncertainty and instability, or forging a new path, one that leads towards a more democratic, more prosperous, and more secure future. The future of Somaliland hangs in the balance.